Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week, talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. We are into the rainy season of summer. Some plants really do thrive, and there's also some plants that kind of struggle. And so you go from super hot to, oh, it's cloud cover. It's kind of nice. Humid goes up. Oh, and then there's rain. Then you've got it can really be a challenge. You got to be in tune with your garden. So I thought I'd give you a couple ideas or things I'm doing to my own gardens that I think will help you in your own gardens. And it's every summer, it's the same way. Plants like the sun up till it's about 95 degrees. And then they start to struggle. Now I'm talking about mountain plants. Now you folks that might be tuned in or have several homes, you've got one down in the deserts, Scottsdale. You've got some up here in God's country, the mountains. That might be different. Now these are the plants that are up here in God's country. This is the higher elevation stuff, the pine forest, the junipers, the manzanitas, and all the landscapes that grow in this elevation. We're typically putting our plants on drip irrigation. They need to be watered. Not so much this time of year. Rainy kind of takes the pressure off. In fact, you can actually overwater if you don't throttle back or adjust your irrigation right now because you're getting some heavy afternoon rains. And so that double down on your drip irrigation. And so we've been watering through June, first part of July, pretty often, probably every day. Your vegetable and flower beds, probably once a week for your established hardcore. They've rooted in types of trees and shrubs, and somewhere in between the others. Lawns are probably every other day or so. It depends on the type of lawn that you've got. You know, bluegrass, you're probably watering every day. A fescue every 2 to 3 days. It's a deeper rooted, cool season green kind of grass. And so there's some variables here. This is gardening. So we're dealing with living, breathing plants out in the yard, trying to help them grow and be healthy. Here are some things that really can help you. If your plants are heat stressed or they're showing some signs of some damage from the summer sun, once you get above 95, plants start to struggle. They start to really try to cool down their environment. And so up in the hundreds, they're kind of struggling. Then it cools back down at night. And typically plants will grow at night when it's cooler out. So they're kind of like people. If you're comfortable outdoors, so are your plants. If you're cold in the evening outdoors, probably your plants are too. They're very much like people. They're living, breathing things out in the yard. They're not puppy dogs, but sometimes they think they are, and they struggle some. And so you're watering probably in the morning. Get those plants hydrated before the heat of the day. You're not going to go take on Granite Mountain or hike to the highest tops and not hydrate before you even leave. I know you're taking a water bottle with you as well, but you're probably going to hydrate before you start heading out into the heat. Plants love to do the same thing. They would much rather to be watered early morning. And we're talking dawn till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. They want to be hydrated before it's hot, before it's above 85 degrees, getting hot. So water them. They don't like being wet going into the evening. They don't like warm afternoons, and being moist, especially on the foliage, is going to cause you issues. You're going to have mildews and spots and curls and all kinds of problems that can show up. Watering in the morning is much better. That's first thing. Second, they love their soil to be, the soil can get sunburned. And so they don't want their the soil around where their roots are growing, to be sunburned. It starts to get parched and cracked. To put a 2 to 3 inch layer of some sort of organic material. I like using shredded cedar bark, but mulch, compost, any of this. Just don't use manure because it's hot and then it's going to add down. It's going to double down on the heat. Don't use manure. Use composted bark material or shredded cedar bark. Some of these things just to keep the sun from hitting the soil around the roots. It'll keep the roots from sunburning. Literally, they can sunburn. So it really takes the edge off. Those two things alone are magic. There's also a product That's an industrial, it's a commercial grade agriculture product. It's kind of really specialized. We're deep down into gardening at this point. It's called Wilt Stop, Wilt, Wilt Stop. It's a clear coating, clear kind of, it's like a sunblock for plants. And so you coat the foliage and it keeps the plants from perspiring outside. It locks in the moisture of the plants so that as the plant gets hot, it's going to perspire. And the roots literally can't take up moisture fast enough to take on, to keep the plant hydrated. So this helps regulate that. It's a game changer. It really makes a difference. And it makes your plants look kind of pretty, makes them shiny and glowy. I kind of do everything in June just because I know they're going to get hot. Just keeps them looking good, shiny. If you're coming over to visit, we're having crumpets and tea or watching a sunset and wine. Wow, there we go. We're probably going to have I'm going to put some Wilt Stop on my plants because they glow better. They just look healthier. It's kind of like houseplants. They've got leaf shine for houseplants. Well, this is for outdoor use. Wilt Stop is for shiny leaves outdoors. But the main thing is it keeps them from perspiring. Game changer. Keeps the plants from getting too hot. 3 things now. Water in the morning. Put a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch or something to keep the soil from sunburning. And then Wilt Stop. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. It's called Aqua Boost. There are soil polymers. This is really important for container gardens, raised beds, things that you're watering frequently. Aqua Boost is a polymer. It's crystals. You add them into the soil, the top layers of the soil. And as you water, as it rains, it actually absorbs that moisture and holds it, locks it in place right there where the roots are, and then releases that water back to the plants as the plant needs it during the heat of the day. If you travel a lot, if you've got houseplants that it's hard to keep them alive. You've got outdoor containers in that full hot sun. AquaBoost is a game changer. You just sprinkle it in the top layers. A few tablespoons will go long ways for that, like a tablespoon for a plant. So every time I garden, I add a tablespoon or so of AquaBoost. It holds the moisture in. We've infused these crystals with mycorrhizal colonies, so the beneficials that attach themselves to roots of plants and help them to root out and grow. So it's holding the moisture in, and then it's encouraging additional root growth of those plants. So there's 4 things. That's water in the morning. Kind of add a 2 to 3 inch layer of composted material on top of that plant, shredded cedar bark. Coat the top foliage with Wilt Stop, and then add at the soil level AquaBoost. Those things will greatly reduce the amount of water you need to irrigate your plants with, so to frequency of turning that irrigation on. It's going to take the heat stress off. They're not going to get as wilty towards the end of the day. They're going to keep nice and perky and healthy. They're going to have thicker, chubbier leaves and stems because, well, they just hold their moisture in. Your fruits, your flowers will stay on the plant longer, grow larger. It really is a game changer. So you can take the edge off your summer gardens with those 4 things, those insider tips. It's super easy, but you got to be proactive with it. If you've not done any of those, you can add them now. It's never too late. It's never too late to take the stress off of your plants. As soon as you take the pressure off of those peppers that have been struggling, man, they will set fruit. We're talking loaded by the end of next week. They're going to be set flowers and keep going. The thickness of those squash, the cucumbers, pumpkins are going to get bigger because it can now focus all that moisture without all the stress, heat pressure into those fruits, into those geraniums, into those berries, whatever it is. It's going to take, if your plants look heat stressed, then I'll leave you with this. This is a growing season. If you simply fertilize your plants right now, you do any one of these things I just mentioned, the water in the morning, the top dress with some compost, the AquaBoost, the Wilt Stop, and then if you simply fertilize your plants, they're going to take those nutrients and just ignite with new growth. Your hydrangeas can have an entire new set of flowers. Within a week to 10 days, you're going, wow, that's really is a game changer. because plants are growing so fast right now. And so heat-stressed plants, summer, your plants don't have to be that way. You can make a difference with just a few of those tips. Got to introduce Lisa Watersling coming in right after these messages with your garden questions. Be right back after this.
Wondering why the grass is always greener on the other side? Well, it's probably because your neighbor used the all-purpose fertilizer from Water's Garden Center. Monsoon is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to feed your plants. Water's all-purpose fertilizer is the only organic made especially for Arizona mountain soils. Don't buy a bunch of different fertilizer for your flowers, veggies, trees, or grass. This one does it all. The plants on your side will be happier, healthier, well, greener. Safe, natural, organic. Water's Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Water's Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Water's Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.